Animal kingdom features of first three phylums under non-chordates: porifera, coelenterata, ctenophora. Okay. So first we are discussing some common features and then their unique features. It means features which are restricted to that particular phylum. Okay. And then last examples. Okay. So the first thing is they commonly called as what? Poriferans called as sponges, while coelenterats they called as cnidarians. Why? Because of the presence of a particular structure called cnidocyte or nematocyte. This thing we will discuss later. And then sea walnuts or comb jellies. That is, ctenophorans are called as sea walnuts or comb jellies based on their appearance. Clear? And then their habitat, where these organisms are living. All the three members are aquatic. Poriferans, coelenterata and ctenophorans, they are aquatic. And poriferans and coelenterats, majority organisms are marine. Clear? Marine. But exceptions are there. Some freshwater forms are also present. Clear? But ctenophorans, they are exclusively marine organisms. And then about their lifestyle. Lifestyle means whether the organism is leading a sessile or sedentary life. That means attached form. Or whether it is free swimming. So these poriferans, they are sessile or sedentary. That means attached. While in coelenterats, some are sessile like Hydra and Adamsia, while some others are free swimming like Aurelia and Physalia. Okay. And then this ctenophorans, all the members are leading which life? Free swimming. Clear? And then about their symmetry, poriferans are asymmetric, while this ctenophorans and coelenterats, they are radially symmetrical organism. And then about their level of organization, poriferans, simplest level of organization, that means cellular, while coelenterats and ctenophorans, level of organization is what? Tissue. Okay. And then about their digestion, poriferans intracellular. The word intra means within. It means inside the cell. But coelenterats and ctenophorans, both digestion is present. Intracellular as well as what? Extracellular. So what is the difference between this intracellular and extracellular digestion? In humans, digestion is inside digestive tract or alimentary canal, right? That means there the digestion is inside digestive tract but outside cell. So extracellular digestion. But when we consider amoeba, for example, if this is amoeba, and whenever any kind of food particle reach near its body surface, what happens? It just extends its pseudopodia, right? These are the pseudopodia, and it extends pseudopodia to drag food into itself. Okay, inside the cell where it is digested. There the digestion is what? Intracellular. So poriferans, digestion is intracellular, that means inside the cells. And coelenterats and ctenophorans, there are some cells which can digest their food. At the same time, these organisms are able to release enzymes externally. Okay. So next feature is their skeletal support. Poriferans, their body carry endoskeleton which is made of silica or calcium carbonate, and they called as spicules or spongin fibers. What is their function? To provide support to that organism, just like our skeletal system. And then in coelenterats, some members are able to produce very hard exoskeleton which is made of calcium carbonate. Example, corals. And then the ctenophorans, endoskeleton is absent. Okay. And then the next feature is their reproduction. These are the poriferans, and then coelenterats, and then ctenophorans. Okay. Poriferans, both asexual as well as sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction by fragmentation and sexual reproduction by the production of what? Sperms and egg. And here also coelenterats, asexual and sexual reproduction, while ctenophorans what? Only sexual reproduction. And then the poriferans, the fertilization is what? Internal, that means inside the body of the organism. And coelenterats, fertilization, majority it is external, but exceptions are there. Box jelly, it is what? Internal. And then ctenophorans, fertilization is what? Within the water, that means external fertilization. And then the development. Here, indirect development, that means what stage is present before becoming adult. An intermediate stage called larvae is present. If larvae is present, such a development is called as what? Indirect. And if larvae is absent, it is called as direct development. Okay. So in all the three cases, development involves a larval stage. That means it is what? Indirect. And then about organism. Poriferans, the organism is hermaphrodite. It means bisexual, or another term, monoecious. Sexes are not separate. That means single organism carry both male and female reproductive system. Okay. And coelenterats, majority organisms are hermaphrodite like poriferans, but exceptions are there. In some, what? They are unisexual or dioecious. There, the sexes are separate. It means Male reproductive system seen in male organism, while female reproductive system in female organism. Okay. And then the hermaphrodite. What? Ctenophorans are what? Hermaphrodites of bisexual. Okay. The unique features of phylum porifera. See, this is the body cavity and it is called as what? Spongiocele. And then internally, what? A layer is present, or spongiocele is internally lined by a layer. That layer is called as coenoderm. And this coenoderm carry the special flagellated cells called coenocyte or collar cells. Okay. And these cells are very important because that helps in the transport of water inside the body. Okay. And then it is characterized by the presence of smaller as well as larger openings. The smaller openings through which water enters, they called as what? Ostia. And the larger opening through which water expels out, they called as what? Oscula. Okay. And because of the presence of this phylum is called as porifera, because the word por means opening and fer means carrying or bearing. So they are pore-bearing organisms. Clear? Next thing is very important. Inside the body, system of water tubes or network of water tubes are present, which helps the organism in food gathering, gas exchange, and removal of waste. Okay. This organism is able to continue their life only with the help of this particular system, and this is called as water transport system or water canal system. Okay. And one importance is here, echinoderms, their water vascular system is present. So water transport or canal system is shown by which phylum? Phylum porifera. Okay. And then their examples, Scypha or cycle, and then bath sponge or Euspongia, because spongilla or freshwater sponge. We discussed majority members are what? Marine, but exceptions are there. So this spongilla is an example for freshwater sponge. And next, unique features of coelenterate. The first thing is nidoblast. So this is the nidoblast. A thread is present, and then inside the body carry a capsule-like structure called nematocyst or nidocyst, which carry a toxic substance that can paralyze the prey. Okay. So this structure helps the organism in defense and then food capture. How? By paralyzing the prey, by secreting this toxic substance, and then anchorage. And because of the presence of this nidoblast, this phylum is called as what? Cnidaria. And then the body forms. Two body forms are there. Some members, they exhibit cylindrical body called as polyp form, example Adamsia. While some other members, they exhibit umbrella shaped body called medusae, and then example Aurelia. Okay. And then the feature difference between this medusae and the polyp phase, it is very important. The first feature we discussed, one is the polyp is cylindrical shaped, while the medusae is what? Umbrella shaped. Okay. And then the polyp, that is sedentary, while medusae what? Free swimming. And then the third feature is the polyp, that is asexual, while the medusae, that is what? Sexual. Okay. And then this is also very important. This is the feature or the character shown by colonial coelenterate like Obelia. Not all coelenterate, but colonial coelenterate like Obelia. Okay. I told you this particular phylum, their members exhibit two different forms, polyp and medusae. Some members like colonial coelentrates, example Obelia, they exhibit both forms, both polyp as well as medusae phase. In some period they are in polyp phase, and some other period they are in medusae phase. Okay. So see this. When the organism is in polyp phase, it undergo asexual reproduction to form what? Medusae. Then this medusae, they are able to produce the sperms and gametes, and this medusae undergo what? Sexual reproduction to form what? Polyp. So their life cycle, polyp alternates with what? Medusae form, and this is called as alternation of generation or what? Metagenesis. Okay. And because of the presence of this metagenesis or two different forms in their life cycle, when we observe their colony, it means members under this phylum Coelenterata, some are leading a solitary, that means single life like Hydra, while others are leading a group. It is called as what? Colonial life. And colonial life exhibiting coelenterate, the example is what? Obelia. Okay. So when we observe the colony of a colonial coelenterate like Obelia, we are able to see morphologically dissimilar individuals. Why? Because some are in polyp phase while others are in what? Medusae phase. And this presence of morphologically dissimilar individuals in a single colony is called as what? Polymorphism. So what is the definition of polymorphism? Presence of morphologically dissimilar individuals in a single colony. Clear? So we can conclude this alternation of generation or metagenesis as well as polymorphism is shown by which phylum? Phylum Coelenterata, and phylum not all coelenterates but colonial coelentrates like Obelia. Okay. And then their examples. This is Spinatula or sea pen, and then Gorgonia or sea fan, and then Meandrina or brain coral, and then Portuguese man of war, that is what Physalia. And then our last phylum, Ctenophora, unique features. Their body is characterized by the presence of what? 8 vertical rows of cilia. Okay, 8 vertical rows of cilia are present. And they are called as comb plates, which helps in what? Locomotion. Which helps in what? Locomotion. And then another property, they are able to emit light, and that is called as what? Bioluminescence. Clear? And then the examples, 2 different examples. One is Pleurobrachia and the other one is what? Ctenoplea. So this is about features of first 3 phylums under non-chordates. Okay.